hard today by the 3 steers directly above you. But this is a good calf that's got tremendous amount of shape down his top. I think when we compare him to the calf in 5th directly behind him, he's just got more top shape coming out of the top side of his shoulder all the way through his hip. Nice calf. I like the calf here that comes in 5th. This one, you know, when you first look at him, you really like him because, again, his design is so perfect. His look is so good. He's a calf that's got a big leg under him and a big foot. He's a calf, though, I think he just doesn't get around quite as well as the 4 steers above him. Maybe not as much true shape as either packed onto his skeleton, but that's a good calf. Very, very nice calf. Sorry you had to stand in 5th today. And as we get into the black steer in 6th, that calf, another steer that you really got to like him for all the fundamentals of a really nice market steer. He's got the top shape. He's got the rear end in him. He's a calf when we handle him. He's been fed extremely well. He maybe doesn't balance as good in terms of his underline as he gets a little deeper in his forerib and shallower in his flank, but that's an extremely muscular individual. You just got in a tough class today. This is by far the toughest class we've seen all day. That's an awful good calf. Same goes for the young man's calf next in line. He's a calf that you just like him for his doing ability, but that's also why he's down where he's at, because he gets a little plainer about his front end, starting to push a little extra condition in his brisket, maybe just not as stout-legged and big-boned some of the other calves above him, but that's a good, honest calf as well. A lot of quality in this class, like I said. This one coming next, when you just walk him on the side view, he's got big legs and big feet, and he takes a long, fluid stride off of both ends. He's a calf, again, we just like to change his underline balance. Gets a little deeper in his chest, maybe tucked up a bit in his flank, and maybe gives up a little muscle to be more competitive today, but that's an awful good one that's got a lot of quality, a lot of design about him. Steer next in line, he just gets a little straighter for me today, maybe just not quite as free moving as the steers above him. Again, a calf, the young man's done a tremendous job feeding him and getting him presented. He just doesn't have the structural integrity to stand any higher today. And the calf that rounds out the class, again, another good market steer. For me today, though, this calf just gets a little more harsh in his rib as we get our hands on him. We'd like to change him right there. Nice individual, good class.
Second call, Class 3, percentage Simmental Heifer. Second call, Class number 3. At this time, we'd like to welcome those ringside joining us here in Freedom Hall as we begin our percentage Simmental Heifer show. This time, we'd like to recognize our judge today, Mr. Webb Fields from Bryan, Texas. Fields grew up showing Simmental and Simmental influenced cattle across the country as an active member of both the state and national Simmental youth programs. Fields Cattle, the current family enterprise in which Webb is an active participant, was born from those junior-focused cattle that he and his sister successfully showed at all levels. Fields Cattle is now one of the preeminent Simmental and Simbra programs in Texas. After attending Texas A&M University as a member of the 2010 livestock judging team, where Fields received top honors at multiple contests, including high individual and cattle reasons at the national event. Webb has since worked in multiple roles within the industry, including sire procurement management for a reputable AI firm, manager of the Texas A&M University Beef Center, as well as a stint as the executive director for a breed association. Currently, Fields is the service manager for the South region of Transova Genetics. Webb has evaluated cattle of multiple breed types across a wide variety of shows throughout the country. Fields not only enjoys evaluating livestock, but also breeding cattle that allow youth exhibitors the opportunity to see success while learning valuable life lessons and responsibilities along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome our judge for our percentage Simmental show, Mr. Webb Fields. First call, Class 8 market steers. First call, Class 8 market steers. Official results from class number 5 of your junior steers. In first place, entry number 53, steer weighing 1,377 pounds, exhibited by Cashin Ellerbrock of Atkinson, Illinois. Second place to entry number 177, steer weighing 1,375 pounds, exhibited by Cale Shorter of Dexter, Kansas. Third place goes to entry number 120, steer weighing 1,378 pounds, exhibited by Denver McKay of Orlando, Oklahoma. Fourth place goes to entry number 160, exhibited by Drew Rice of Huntington, Indiana. Fifth place, entry number 124, exhibited by Tyler Neal of Bellevue, Ohio. Sixth place, entry number 109, exhibited by Lauren Loudermilk. Seventh place, entry number 84, exhibited by Cruz Hill. Eighth place, entry number 97, exhibited by Ashlyn Kelly. Ninth place, entry number 24, exhibited by Lane Byers. And 10th place, entry number 77, exhibited by Zach Hida.
Well, as I referenced yesterday in the Simmental show, it's not lost on me how special it is to pick up a microphone in Freedom Hall, specifically within a breed that I grew up in a junior association that I grew up through, as well as my siblings, and hoping to raise my kids through the same association. And so I'm tickled pink just to start out to be here. Interesting class in our percentage Simmentals. To be quite frank, I think there's a lot of give and take structurally as we work through these calves, and a lot of it will just depend on how they grow. They're obviously very young. We land on the pair of females up top that I just felt the best about in terms of not only performance and stretch and look, but also structurally, even though there's some give and take within the pair as well. Young lady's got a very striking one to lead off, as we alluded to. Performance, stretch, look are all in this one's favor. As we also allude to, I think this one gets around the ring with a lot of flexibility and comfort throughout her skeleton. Not perfect in terms of stability, but I feel like all the angles there are just going to allow her, as she gains more weight, to set down the right way. And again, from there up, she's just really good in terms of her center body cavity and the way she pulls it together. Very, very striking heifer in second that's a little stouter in terms of her structure down low. I love this one's look in her rear structure, how big-footed, how heavy structured she is, and just the angle from her hock down and how she addresses it is beautiful. She complements that by stopping and planting really roped up front with a really long level view down her top line. Two things for me: as good as I like her rear structure, she does just work a little straighter from her shoulder down, and she's just not as robust and soft back to her flank as our class winner. Interesting breeding piece moving forward. I talk about structure differences because, young lady, this strip face one is very, very good standing there, and that's why you're in third. You do a great job of presenting her and getting her prepared, and just standing there on the hoof. That one's really maternal and feminine about her head, neck, and shoulder. Really progressive in terms of her body shape. I love the balance. It's just on the go she's got to get a little better to move up. She really wants to toe, get forward up front and toe out, and I really want to adjust the way she hits the ground, specifically on her pasture. Again, hopefully that doesn't get any worse, because it hadn't hindered her ability to be as good as she is there. Again, she's got to hit the ground a little different for me to get her in the top pair. Heifer coming in next is bigger and stretchier, like our first and second place heifer. I like the femininity and the balance she comes with. She's a little shallower and harder in her body compared to the one in third, and that's another one. Structurally, we just got to lay back everywhere and make her more comfortable. Young man's got one that gets out and really steps with a deep heel, which actually plays to her deficit. At this stage, I just call that probably too weak. I want to strengthen her up in terms of her pasture, and as much as anything, that one's a little flatter and greener in terms of her center rib. But again, one that's comfortable going at the moment, one that's really attractive on the top side of her skeleton. Young man's got a nice balanced one that we've got to get going a little better off either end. She toos a little up and down, specifically from her shoulder down, gets a little plainer about her head and neck. Very practical red heifer with a ton of performance that I just want to make her more attractive and genuine in her muscle shape. We round out with a moderate frame, powerful one that is very genuine. Simply put, the one I'd probably design structurally and from a look standpoint the most. Good way to start out the Percentage Simmental show. Congratulations on a really nice winner.
First call, Class 8 market steers. First call, Class 8.
I think we've got an extremely powerful set of steers on the top end of this class. I think the calf that wins the class, he does a lot of good. That calf's extremely sound as he gets around the ring, and I think that's why he wins the class today. He's got a great hawk in him. I really like his foot at the ground and the way he covers real estate as he moves out. Exceptional. He's a calf that's very soft and smooth to the touch as we get our hands on him. I don't know that you can appreciate how big hip this calf is until you're right up on him. His pin bones are about 2 feet apart. He's got a gigantic hip in him. I like his width of chest, his forearm, his back. Just a really nice calf. Maybe doesn't have the look that the calf in second does, but I think he's just the combination. Very competitive, nice calf, young lady. The calf in second, I like this one standing still as good as any of them. He's got a tremendous amount of muscle in him. He's an extremely trim calf. Just when we study how nice he is up through his head, neck, and shoulder, and he's got some width, some expansion in his rib cage. Calf, when you get behind him, he's got a great big quarter in him, tremendous amount of muscle. I need this calf to just go a little freer off his hind leg to be more competitive. That one moves better off his hind leg today. He wins the class. Extremely nice calf. Now here's the calf in the class that's very intriguing. Again, one I don't know that you realize how much power he's got till you get up on him. We have not seen a bigger backed, bigger hip, bigger ended one all day. This thing from right behind his shoulder, he just explodes with muscle all the way to his pin bones. Very, very impressive when we get behind him. He's got a huge foot, tremendous amount of bone. I like that shape and expansion to his rib cage. I need to change this one up through his front end. Gets a little steep and straight up front. Maybe just lengthen him out to get him more competitive. but that's one impressive individual right there. You know, this yellow and white calf, when he came in the ring, I thought, man, that one might win the class, because standing still, I just like his squareness, his boldness. He's a short back, just perfectly balanced in his rib cage. I like that calf's shape over the top side of his skeleton. I like him when I get behind him, standing still. It's when he moves. He's wanting to get a little outside of himself. He's pushing pretty good on the move off his back leg, but that one's a square-built, chunky-made individual. I like the calf next in line as well. He just gives up some in terms of his rib flank and his forerib depth today when we compare him to some of the other individuals. I think this is a very high cut ability kind of a calf. He's got a great big top in him, plenty of muscle, just gets a little harder bellied for me today, maybe a little steeper and straighter up front, but you got to like his extension. Again, the young lady gets him stuck as good as anybody out here on the profile. Here's another boxy built, big-legged one coming next in line. Again, extremely stout. We need to just smooth this calf up a bit, but he's one that you really like. When we get our hands on him, he just gets a little bit hard to the touch for me today. Just a little hard muscled, but I like him in terms of just his style and balance. Good calf. The black calf next in line, he just gets a little piecey for me today. I'd like to change the way his shoulder lays into his forerib, but again, he's one that just stands on a tremendous amount of circumference of bone. He's got a huge foot, plenty of shape. You like him up through his neck. We need to just change him in his shoulder and forerib, make him more competitive today. Nice job, young lady. Calf next in line is a long-sided calf. Looks like he's fed extremely well. He's got some condition when you get your hands on him. He's a calf, though, he just gets too flat to be competitive today. Just a little lighter muscled than some of the other ones directly above him, but that's a good-sided, high-quality one as well. I like the yellow calf next in line. He just gets outpowered today. I don't think he looks like he's got enough bone and enough true shape when we get him out here amongst his contemporaries, but you like his forerib and flank and his soft look. Really a good feeding one as well. Young lady's calf that rounds out the class. He's no slouch as well. This was a high-quality class with a lot of steers that were awful good up above, and this one's no slouch. He's got plenty of muscle, plenty of shape and length. Looks like he's fed okay. We just need to soften him up in his lower one-third to make him more competitive.
Second call, Class 8 market steers. Second call, Class 8 market steers. First call, Class 4 percentage Simmentals. First call, Class 4 percentage Simmentals. Results of class number 1 of your percentage Simmental Heifer Show. In first place goes to entry number 200. SHRP KCSB Naturally Merrily 115M, exhibited by Kaisley Cox of Aberdeen, Virginia. In second place goes to entry number 202. SNS Cowan Desiree 4633M, exhibited by Caitlin Sherman of LaGrange, Indiana. Third place goes to entry number 198. HLVW 24 Carat Shine 2410, exhibited by Grayson Ruber of Georgetown, Kentucky. Fourth place goes to entry number 199, exhibited by Jocelyn Rupert of Lanark, Illinois. Fifth place, entry number 201, exhibited by Nathan Alexander of Bremen, Alabama. Sixth place, entry number 204, Griffin Hopf. Seventh place, entry number 207, Christian Siegel. Eighth place, entry number 194, Tyler Lundy.
Well, we ratcheted up a notch in terms of upper end quality, in my opinion, within this second class. And we've got a very close decision here in the middle that I think can go a lot of different ways. It was always these two heifers when they hit the ring. I think these things are impeccable in terms of presentation, quality, and look, with minor differences between the two of them. I elect to go with the heifer in first because I'm going to call, I think she's just got maybe what I'm going to call a notch more future. There's just a little more stretch there, in my opinion. She's a little longer everywhere. She's a little more roped up and extended up front. She's a little longer spined, in my opinion, to go with how comfortable and flexible she is throughout her skeleton, to go with just all the body and density that she's got in her center cavity. She might just be a little more genuine, in my opinion, in terms of width as well. Specifically, if you study the two cattle over their hip, I think there's just a little more of this heifer, specifically long term. Now, if it gets close and you want to switch them, she is just a little longer everywhere, so she gets a little tight in her heart there. She's just not as filled in right behind her blades. When we get her stretched out, and you did get her a little more stretched out there at the end, I think it makes her look that much better because she collects herself a little better with a little more stretch there in terms of her legs. Really, really big-time heifer. Big-time heifer in second. That one is dialed in terms of presentation, and again, she's got an advantage there in her heart because that one's as good as any, just in terms of depth from forerib back to flank, the amount of balance she's got in her undercarriage, and how awesome she is in terms of her transition from shoulder to forerib to center rib. She's just beautiful in the way she puts it together. She, too, in my opinion, is impeccable on her feet and legs. As we talked about or alluded to just a second ago, I don't know that there's as much cow there. I don't know that she's quite as extended. I don't know that she's quite as naturally muscled as the heifer that gets around her. But again, if you just like it, how bulletproof she is in terms of balance and switch the pair, not going to argue with you. I got into this trio that I think is interesting, and I just quite frankly lined them up how I liked them. If this one's not big enough for you, I'm not going to argue because, quite frankly, I wish she was a little bigger, at least projected to be a little bigger, because she does look like she's going to be a little cow, in my opinion. Also, in my opinion, I think she's going to be a very good little cow. That thing gets around the ring with a lot of comfort and flexibility throughout her skeleton. She's got a lot of volume. She's balanced. She's attractive. So, again, study that one in a bubble. That one's really good. Study her in this class just needs to be bigger. I just felt more comfortable leaving in third because, quite frankly, of the remaining cattle, she's my favorite. I really like a lot of things about this heifer coming in fourth. She just doesn't put it together quite good enough for me. She's really long extended up front. She's got some additional size and performance. I wanted to call her a little flatter, but get in behind that heifer. She's as round-ribbed and powerful as any in terms of her muscle. Again, she just doesn't put it together as nice. She gets up in terms of her hooks in relation to her pins, just not as smooth as how she blends her pieces. And I think I wanted to call her a little flatter because she does flatten to her base. But again, she's got some good shape up top, and I still think she's good enough in terms of performance to start her in 4. The heifer in 5 is awfully flashy. This young man does a good job, and she's well presented and well down the line here to have one looking that good standing still. It's her spine that worries me long term. She's a little nervous out here, which doesn't help, and the young man's done a good job of sticking with her. But when she goes, she really wants to duck her pins, get up underneath herself, and pop up her spine. So I worry about her skeleton as we progress. Standing there today, she's powerful, she's good looking. Just want to change that. We get into a heifer that's real practical in terms of body density and kind. She gives you a nice balanced look. Structurally, she needs to be stouter in terms of her foot and bone and go more stable out of her pasture. And young man's got another one that's really good cowy look through her center body. She's feminine about her head and neck. She too needs to be stouter at her base to help that one structurally. We wrap up with 2 heifers that are good in terms of just having some shape and power to them. 2 heifers I want to change structurally and just give them a little fancier look to work up the class. Really good top pair. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Third and final call, Class 8 steers. Third and final call, Class 8 market steers. First call, Class 4 percentage Simmentals. First call, Class 4 percentage Simmentals. Results of class number 6 of your junior market steers. In first place, entry number 25, steer weighing 1,399 pounds, exhibited by Kenzie Campbell of Corydon, Iowa. In second place, entry number 96, steer weighing 1,382 pounds, Caden Kaysen of Wheatland, Wyoming. Third place, entry number 198, steer weighing 1,385 pounds, exhibited by Cole Van Beeter of Manon, Indiana. Fourth place, entry number 99, exhibited by Mason Kinney of Norwalk, Ohio. Fifth place, entry number 178, exhibited by Madison Shout of Piedmont, Oklahoma. Sixth place, entry number 114, exhibited by Andrew Matthias. Seventh place, entry number 37, exhibited by Rowan Cooper. Eighth place, entry number 98, exhibited by Landon Kirkstra. And ninth place, entry number 20, exhibited by Elizabeth Blackburn. 10th place, entry number 64, exhibited by Addison Gettinger.
Very nice first division in your percentage Simmental show, and really similar in terms of the dynamics of both classes. I thought pairs of heifers that got to the front end of their two classes pretty quickly. We talk about our class 1. Young lady's doing a good job and got a bright future for her in this young calf. That one's really good on her feet and legs, good bodied, has some extra extension, which we like, and youthfulness, which we like at this stage, and just really practical in her kind. We talked about big breeding pieces in that second place effort. The foot and bone and the angle she's got from her hip hock to the ground, I think is impeccable. The extra reach and look up front she can give, and the balance down her top line. Big time pair out of this second class. I thought they were really good, and I thought they were straight offs, obviously, as we just talked about. I'm pleased with both of those two. As competitive as the 4 are, we're going to keep this class 2 together. They'll be champion in reserve.
Second call, class 4, percentage Simmental. Second call, class 4. Third and final call, class 4, percentage Simmentals. Third and final call, class 4, percentage Simmentals. Second call, Class 9 market steers. Second call, Class 9.
Well, I think we got a really, really nice one to start this class. This is the kind that when he walks into class, he just grabs you and, you just kind of can't take your eyes off of him as you're judging the class. You just got to keep looking back at him just because he looks so neat. A calf from the moment he walked in the class, I thought, man, it's going to take a really good one to beat him. Just his presence and just his athleticism, his build, his muscularity. I really like this calf. You get your hands on him. He's mellow to the touch, been fed extremely well. Really nice calf. If I'm going to get really critical of him, I just want to change the distance between his nose and his eye just a bit. But that's an awful good one. Really nice calf to win the class. And then the calf in second, as you start to analyze this one, he's got a lot of good about him. He's bold in his rib cage. When you get up behind him, he's definitely one of the more muscular calves in the class. From the top side of his shoulder back all the way through his hip, that calf just explodes with muscle and shape. You know what's wrong with him? He's missing a hair coat. If this thing had a hair coat like a few of these in this class, he'd look tremendously stouter than he already is, and I think he's plenty stout, but really nice, honest calf. Maybe he doesn't have the presence that the calf that wins the class does, but I think that's an awful good one. I like the quality and just the overall style and the balance of the calf that comes in third. This one, when we just set him parked on the rail, you can't take your eyes off him as well. He's really neat in his underline, level down his top. His neck comes straight out of the top side of his shoulder. He's got some width and dimension where he falls short of the two steers above him, though. They're just so much more powerful. That's a muscular steer, but those two just take it to a whole new level. That's an awful good calf. I like him for his overall quality. Then we get some two calves next in line in 4 and 5, I think, that are really good. This black and white steer that we put forth, when we get this one parked, he's in contention for being a class winner. This one, his shape and his dimension and how smooth he is built from his shoulder to his forerib, from his forerib to his flank to his hip and quarter. That calf is just so smooth and transitions so beautifully. Got a tremendous amount of bone and a good look. It's when we ask him to go that he just gets too tight in his pastern, maybe just wants to waddle just a nickel off his hind leg. If we change that, that one's hunting the top of the class. It's an awful nice calf. We just need him to go better off his rear, too. Same goes for this black baldy steer next in line. I like this calf. The young lady's done a phenomenal job showing him and taking care of him. We just need that calf to be more flexible at the ground as he moves, but he's very muscular, shapely, smooth built, been fed well, presented to a T. Nice calf. I like the red calf just for all of his extras that he's got. He's long-necked, he's big-boned and big-footed, got a big square hip in him. He maybe just gets a little out at his shoulder for me today, just not quite as smooth made as those steers that get out there in front of him. That's a good calf. We probably need to ask him to go just a little more soundly off of both ends, but really nice one as well. The calf that's coming next in line, he's a powerful rascal. He's long-bodied. He weighs a bunch. He's a very practical kind of steer in terms of his build. He's sound. For me today, he's a calf that's just loading up a little more up through his chest, and he wants to break in his loin, and he just gets a little too high in his tailhead today. That's an awful good one as well, though. You just got to appreciate the quality when we're talking 7, 8 deep in these classes. That's a nice calf. He just got in a class with some heaters at the top. Calf coming next in line. Here's one that's very trim in his overall makeup. If we were taking a calf like this to the rail, we'd call him the high cutability steer. Gonna have an awesome yield grade as he's chuck full of muscle. Got nothing underneath in his lower 1/3. He'll cut well. You like that, but it also makes him at a disadvantage because he just needs to be a little softer today to be more competitive. I like the calf next in line as well. Again, one we're going to change structurally, just free him up off his front end and give him more reach as he gets out and goes. But that one, there's one there that's got some muscle. When we get our hands on him, he gets a little raw right there over his 10th, 13th rib. He's just maybe just a little harder to the touch today. I like the next three calves that come in line for their overall length of body. I think in terms of muscle, they're well above average. We just need these cattle to be a little more correct on their feet and legs today. Nice group of steers.
Second call, Class 9 market steers. Second call, Class 9 market steers. Results of your Class 2 percentage Simmental heifers. In first place, entry number 212, TCLC MEO 430M, exhibited by Tyler Miller of Atlanta, Illinois, with a weight per day range of 4.01. In second place, entry number 215, SNS TSSC, Maine Miley Cyrus, exhibited by Eli Walther of Centerville, Indiana, with a weight per day range of 3.88. In third place, entry number 218, Camelco Queen 2410M, exhibited by Gus Wilt of Bloomingburg, Ohio, with a weight per day range of 2.9. In fourth place, entry number 219, exhibited by Jamie Hoblin of York, Nebraska. Fifth place, entry number 220, exhibited by Garrett Roush of Spencer, Ohio. Sixth place, entry number 214, Elijah Beath. Seventh, entry number 221, Tolson Howard. Eighth place, 222, Annalie Myers. At ninth place, entry number 211, exhibited by Blake Houseworth. Congratulations, your Division I champion goes to entry number 212, exhibited by Tyler Miller. Your reserve Division I champion goes to entry number 215, exhibited by Eli Walther. Congratulations to your champion, bred and owned, also exhibited by Tyler Miller. This is your second call, Class 5 percentage Simmentals. Second call, Class 5 percentage Simmentals. Third and final call, Class 9. Third and final call, Class 9 market steers.
Well, we start our next division, similar in my opinion to that last class and last division, how it lined up with two on the top. that I think are exceptional. And again, it was these two throughout that I knew I was going to have to work down and make some calls on. Young man's heifer up front is just absolute smooth as glass in the way she puts herself together. She's so fresh. At this age, she's so fresh and youthful and attractive, nose to tail, how everything blends. She's stouter than you realize. As good as she is on the profile, she's stouter than you'd think when you get behind the heifer. And so she's just so good and so high quality and so smooth. And I do think she's got a structure advantage. If you'll look, I think she toes forward a notch better up front. And although both heifers are very sound, our class winner's really deep and soft and stable how she sets her pasture. I love this heifer in second, and she's probably a bigger, stouter, burlier version, which I appreciate. I like all the boldness. I like the extra power she comes with, and it's very impressive how stout she is, yet how smooth she is, and the way she blends herself. Again, we just run into one that I think is just a notch smoother. And then again, as we allude to, you'll catch her when she stops and plants. She gets a little wide there up front, toes out just a little bit. Again, sound, but maybe not quite as cushy and stable out of her rear pasture. Again, that's a big-time heifer to be trying to pick some holes in to talk differences. I really like this little star snipped heifer. She's as smooth as glass once we get her stopped, too, on profile. So maternal and elegant about her face, her eye, her neck, her shoulder. The way she blends back is awesome. She's just got to go better, in my opinion, to get into that elite top two. Although sound, and I love her angles once she stopped, she's just a hair tighter everywhere going, not as stout featured down low as the pair ahead of her. Really nice kind of heifer that just kept working her way up, because this is a no-holes, meat and potatoes heifer. And again, I say that in a good thing. She's sound. She's really bold and good-bodied. She's got enough look to her. Again, when we're talking about an elite top trio, she's a little coarser about her shoulder, a little harsher in terms of her forerib, just not as extended, ladylike, and smooth as that top three. I had two heifers come in the ring originally, and I was waiting for a second. I thought the class would be bigger, and was told that there was a heifer loose, and we were waiting on her. What was this one? I'm glad you caught her, young man, and got out here. This is a good heifer. She's deep-heeled, soft-moving, big-footed, heavy-structured, good-bodied, real good-looking. Her combination of center body to neck is really attractive. Just a few more holes in that one, tighter in her forerib, more closed through her chest floor, just so we're not quite as smooth, but good heifer. Glad we got her in the ring. Star-headed heifer coming in next, and the next pair have structure issues, contrasting structure issues. This one's bold and stout and still attractive, in my opinion, in her lines. She's just got to go better at her base. Heifer coming in next is another big, stout one that's still real good about her head and neck. That one's got to go better in her spine to get any higher within this class. Young man's got a start-headed one that's really nice. He's done a good job of getting her ready, does a good job showing her. I love the balance and femininity. Simply put, she's just got to catch up with this class in terms of center body. If she'll hit another gear, you're going to work yourself way up the class. Red motley face coming in next, very powerful. Needs to be a ladyer-like in her muscle and neck and the way she goes. We've got a practical built one in terms of her skeleton that's just too plain in her look and shape. Round out with a real power one. That young lady, I think that's going to be a good one for you in terms of breeding value, because that one's got a lot of shape yet balanced down her top line. Just got to go looser to get her any higher within this class. Another real good one, another real good pair on top. Congratulations to your winner.
Third and final call, Class 5 percentage Simmentals. Third and final call, Class 5 percentage Simmentals. It's your first call, Class number 6. First call, Class 6. First call, Class 10 market steers. First call, Class 10. Official results for class number 7 of your junior market steer show. In first place, entry number 167, steer weighing 1,409 pounds, goes to Reagan Rogers of Savannah, Missouri. In second place, entry number 119, steer weighing 1,409 pounds, exhibited by Denver McKay of Orlando, Oklahoma. Third place goes to entry number 51, steer weighing 1,410 pounds, exhibited by Delaney Eden of Ramona, Oklahoma. Fourth place, entry number 39, exhibited by Kara Cummins of Hollis, Oklahoma. Fifth place, entry number 94, exhibited by Haley Jark of Fairmount, Indiana. Sixth place, entry number 38, exhibited by Braden Cummings. Seventh place, entry number 208, exhibited by J.C. Yelton. Eighth place, entry number 6, exhibited by Bella Ballard. Ninth place, entry number 115, exhibited by Carsden McCramer. 10th place, entry number 185, exhibited by Jarrah Smith. 11th place, entry number 59, exhibited by Mitchell Freeman. And 12th place, entry number 197, exhibited by Caitlin Van de Weel. This is your second call in Class 6, Percentage Simmental's second call, Class 6. This is your second call, Class 10 steers. Second call, Class 10 steers. Results of class number 3 of your percentage Simmental heifers. In first place goes to entry number 226, RP CMFM Wildfire M6, exhibited by Wyatt Phillips of Maysville, Kentucky. In second place, entry number 223, DTHHTSSC Carmen 4036M, exhibited by Callie Baldwin of Winchester, Indiana. Third place goes to entry number 232, DADC Looker M241, exhibited by Riley Moon of Comer, Georgia. Fourth place, entry number 239, exhibited by James Jackson of Paris, Kentucky. Fifth place, entry number 234, Mason Butte of Hope, Indiana. Sixth place, entry number 236, Hadley Benter. Seventh place, entry number 237, Kenley Knotts. Eighth place, entry number 224, Nathan Hill. Entry number 225 in ninth place went to David Phillip. 10th place, entry number 229, Ethan Larimore. And 11th place, entry number 233, exhibited by Heidi Hughes.
I think really an impressive class all the way through. Undoubtedly, this was the heat. And if you ask everybody, their steer weighed 1449. So I think everybody in this class was jockeying for position either at 1449 or 1450. It always entertains me when they all weigh the same. It's kind of fun. But I think we've got 5 or 6 on the top end of this thing that are extremely, extremely good. But for me, there's one that just jumps out and says, I'm going to win the class, and that's Amenity. Came through the gate. He was kind of in 5th gear, and he never really slowed down. I'd actually like him to slow down just a bit. I know you're trying. If he was a horse, he'd be the one you'd want to ride out checking cows because he'd have you home in no time. But that thing can move. He's got gigantic feet, big legs. I love how smooth made he is, how his body wall transitions into his shoulder. He's got a great big hip in him. He's a calf that's big backed. Just really puts a lot of good together. I think when we view him from the side, there's a calf there that balances up ever so neat. He's not a freak by any means, but he's just a big-legged, smooth-made, muscular piece of livestock. Really nice calf. Then we've got a calf in second. Maybe got a little bit more look to him. When we get this thing on the profile, his neck comes straight out of the top side of his shoulder. I mean, he's a good-looking rascal, one that's really sound like our class winner. As he gets around the ring, he just takes a long, fluid stride and just grabs ground as he grows. Maybe not quite as bold right there behind his shoulder, maybe not quite as big in his top, but that's an awfully good one. The calf coming in third, the yellow steer. If I could change the way this one moves and off his hind leg right there at the ground, he'd have maybe been hunting second place. I love him from his shoulder back. That one's just perfect bodied. You can't build a rib cage better in one, and when he's standing still, he just has fat steer written all over him. Powerful, very well conditioned calf that just needs to go a little better off his rear too. I like that one awful well. The calf coming in fourth, again, he just got in a tough class. This one got in a different class, he'd be winning it today. He's a boxy built, short-backed, muscular one that stands on a big foot, has a tremendous amount of bone, just maybe isn't quite as massive, maybe isn't quite as much as the 3 above him, but that's an awful good one. I like the balance and symmetry that comes next in 5. This calf, when he's out there on the profile, he's just so good looking, so smooth made. He just needs to be more muscular today to be more competitive, but that's an awfully good one. He's sound as he gets around the ring as well. The black calf coming next in line. There isn't one today I think we've seen with as good a hip and just muscle coming right down his top. It almost works to his disadvantage. When we get our hands on him, that calf gets a bit raw, gets a bit hard, but that's a big back, big-ended one, just want to soften him up a nickel, maybe free him up off his hind leg as he goes, but that one's got a neat presence and a lot of power. Lot of power. I like this yellow one as well. You know, this was a tough class. I could see this calf moving a little higher up for me today. He just gets a little pinched in his forerib when you get right up on him. Doesn't transition quite as well from his shoulder to his forerib, but that's a calf that's got a big hip, a good hind leg. He moves good. He just gets a little harder right there behind his shoulder. Tough class. That was an impressive group of steers. Calf next in line is one that's been fed extremely well. He's got a lot of extension up through his front end, extremely easy to look at. For me today, he just kind of is running the wrong way in terms of the design of his underline. He gets a little deeper in his chest, a little tighter in his flank. We just need to change him there. Good calf as well. The yellow calf next in line. Here's one, doesn't have a lot of leg hair, but he's chock full of muscle as well. Maybe doesn't handle to the touch quite as smooth as some of those other calves above him. He's just a big, muscular individual, just a little raw today for that weight. Maybe change him off his hind leg. Young lady's calf bringing up the rear. That's a good calf as well. He's got some length, got some extension. He's sound enough. Just gotten a really powerful class today. This is no slouch. That's an awful good steer. Be proud of him. Congratulations.
Third and final call, Class 10 market steers. Third and final call, Class 10.
Well, as we continue on in our percentage Simmental show, a lot of contrast, I think, throughout the lineup. To me, the heifer that leads off in this particular scenario is special. Her body to neck ratio is incredible. Again, we talk about cattle that fill into their forerib appropriate, that have a very maternal, bold, functional swoop to their center body, the way she feeds back to her flank, and then the projection of just quality, balance, and attractive look from her head, neck, shoulder is impeccable, impeccably presented, impeccably shown. Just a really comfortable place to start for me. The real pair in here is 2-3. I think this is where the sword is. And on the profile, I switched the pair because this heifer that's going to be second does get a little lazy there behind her shoulder. Her hip sits in a little higher than her shoulder, and so she just doesn't give you quite the level balanced look of the heifer in 3. I sort it the way I do because I guess I just feed in or gain a little more breeding value, in my opinion, in this heifer in 2. Her best look is when you get off to a 3/4 view. See how square she sets them down. See how genuine she is about her rib shape and muscle. And then her combination of having that genuine shape of rib and muscle, yet being very flat-shouldered, ladylike. Another one that's extremely maternal about her front end. I just think there's a bunch of value in that, not to pick too many holes about her top being level, and that's why she's 2. Young lady, the heifer in 3 is awfully solid. Another meat and potatoes kind of heifer, and that's a good thing. Balanced, practical. She in her own right gives you a very nice look, and we alluded to just how strong she is in her top line, how level she is out of her hip. Big feet, big legs that go good. I just think she studies just a hair plainer. Not quite as neat about her neck and shoulder, filled into her chest floor a notch more. Although she's rugged and stout, maybe not as genuine in terms of upper rib and muscle in the heifer in 2. But again, a very practical, very good one, very quality one. They're in 3. We get into a pair of cattle that come in next that I'd probably just adjust a little bit in terms of look and structure. Heifer in 4 is another deep-bodied, high-performing, balanced one that's big down low. That one, to me, probably more than anything, is just a shot plain. She studies more mature and plain about her head and neck, just doesn't give the look of the cattle ahead of her. Young lady coming in next is one that is a little more youthful and fresh about her front end. I like that about her. She can give you a real balanced, attractive look on the profile. We just need to pry her apart in her skeleton and make her more genuine and bolder in the lower portion of her rib to get her higher. Streak face heifer is where we start, again, into some structure issues, in my opinion. Striking female from the side that's got some density of body and muscle. Just want to see that one go a little differently off of either ends of her skeleton. Real green, high-performing one coming in next that's sharp down her top line. A heifer that needs more body in relation to her added frame. A moderate frame, big-bellied one coming in next that needs to go looser out of her hip down. Red heifer is impeccable in terms of her hair quality and the way they've got it dialed in there. Coming in next, high-performing, balanced, stout. Again, another heifer I'd change structurally and make her more ladylike about her front end. Moderate, powerful, traditional colored one coming in next that I want to make more ladylike and extend her out. Wrap up the class with another good one. That one's moderate and stout and not without quality. Simply put, she's just not as attractive, not as bold everywhere as some cattle ahead of her.
Results of class number 8 of your junior steer show. In first place, entry number 70 with a steer weighing 1,439 pounds, exhibited by Delaney Geyer of Robinson, Illinois. In second place, entry number 184 with a steer weighing 1,449 pounds, exhibited by George Sinclair of Williamsburg, Iowa. In third place, entry number 92, a steer weighing 1,449 pounds, exhibited by Macy Jacobson of Osceola, Iowa. In fourth place, entry number 108, exhibited by Landon Lawson of Paxton, Illinois. Fifth place, entry number 21, exhibited by Alyssa Borson of Zeeland, Michigan. Sixth place, entry number 80, exhibited by Harley Henley. Seventh place, entry number 161, exhibited by Jayla Reiser. Eighth place, entry number 110, Lauren Loudermilk. Ninth place, entry number 140, Destiny Potter. 10th place, entry number 136, Emma O'Neill.
Fun division to work through. I think both classes had a lot of give and take throughout. I think I had some numbers out here, had a lot of different things we can do, had some competitive, certainly a competitive pair in our first class, certainly a lot of intrigue in the place, and two very high quality females out of our second class, and so made it fun to sort through. The heifer that wins the first class, I think, is special in my opinion at this age. As we talked about in class, her ability to blend herself from nose to tail so well and so comfortably, both on the stand and on the go, is just very, very impressive. And that class wasn't without challenge, because that's a very good second place heifer. A different kind, in my opinion. Lots of power, lots of stoutness, lots of burliness, but yet uniquely puts it together very, very attractively. And then her heifer out of her second class, I love her giant pieces, and it starts with just the softness she has through her center cavity, in combination with how she can project her front end to the roof is awfully impressive, and she is very dialed in terms of presentation and freshness today, and can give you as big a look as any. So just that gigantic, soft, cowy rib cage in combination with her attractive look is impressive. To discuss some differences, I don't know if she's quite as strong there in behind her shoulder, or just quite as level and balanced from there, but again, I'm nitpicking on one I like a bunch. And we talked about the breeding value in that heifer that was second. She's as unique as any in combining general rib shape coming out of her spine all the way into her lower cavity with genuine muscle shape, with yet a fresh, quality, maternal look about how she handles her muscle. So she's very impressive as well. Excellent division. I'll show you the two I like best. Please give these kids on the Percentage Simmental side of a round of applause on showing some elite cattle.
Second call, Class 11 Market Steers. Second call, Class 11 Market Steers. This year, third and final call, Class 6 Percentage Simmentals. Third and final call, Class 6 Percentage Simmentals. First call, Class 7. First call, Class 7 Percentage Simmentals. Your Class 4 results of your Percentage Simmental heifers. In first place, entry number 252, winning her class, and also Division II Reserve Champion honors, WCCO CLAC Bernice 84M, exhibited by Emma Woodard of Cambridge, Ohio. In second place, in class number 4, goes to entry number 244, XTB Mona Lisa M22, exhibited by Tylee Elmore of Waukomis, Oklahoma. Third place, entry number 245. BOSC Summer M367, exhibited by Genevieve Sheets of Jefferson, Ohio. Fourth place, entry number 250, exhibited by Emma Gregory of Battleground, Indiana. Fifth place, entry number 248, exhibited by Peyton Klauser of West Point, Indiana. Sixth place, entry number 251, Lillian Smith. Seventh, 253, exhibited by Lane Simon. Eighth, 242, exhibited by Caden McKnight. Ninth place, entry number 246, Holly Marga. 10th place, entry number 247, Gavin Melton. 11th place, entry number 249, exhibited by Adam Eubanks. Congratulations to your Division II champion of your percentage Simmentals goes to entry number 226, RPCMFM Wildfire M6, exhibited by Wyatt Phillips of Maysville, Kentucky. Now exhibiting in the percentage Simmental ring is class number 5.
I think we've got one that handles the class very easily. Again, one of those, the minute he came walking in class, you just knew that one was going to win it. Extremely fault-free, a lot like some of the other calves. I think the Grand Drive's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm going to be first to say this thing's going to be way stouter than it was last year. I think we've already seen some class winners that it's going to be a steer show here at the end, but I just like this calf. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. He's got plenty of muscle in him. He's got an awesome rib cage in him, sound as he gets around the ring, big hipped. The young lady is really doing an awesome job showing him. I don't know if maybe she's a little too critical. I'm just waiting on her, and finally she got his front foot where it needed to be, and man, he looked awful good. Nice job. Good calf to win the class. I think the calf in second might have an advantage just in terms of his presence up through his front end. This calf's neck ties high out of the top side of his shoulder. He's virtually got no chest for a 1,400 and something pound fat steer. Calf's got an awesome design. If you want to see one that's presented to a T for a colored one, when you get upright on him, the boys did a nice job getting him ready. Calf that's extremely sound as he gets around the ring. Maybe just not quite as powerful, maybe is not as much middle as the calf that wins the class, but that's one that's got a tremendous amount of quality, real neat to look at on the side profile. I like the black calf coming in third as well. Gives up some in terms of overall power. That's one, though, that you really got to appreciate for his balance and just his look on the side view. He might get a nickel straight and steep up through his front end today, but I think that's getting awfully critical of a really good one, like the way that one's got that cobra neck in him and his ears just sit out there and he just tells you, hey, look at me, look at how good I am, and really nice calf. Like I said, just give up some of the power today. Calf coming next in line. Now there's one that's got the power and muscularity. When you study him right down his back, through his hip and through his quarter, this thing is just chock full of muscle. Got a lot of shape and dimension up high. He's a calf, though. We need to change him as the way he goes off his rear, too. Wants to hawk in just a nickel, get just a little bit tight in his ankle as he goes. That's a nice calf. The calf next in line, this is one of the more muscular ones we've seen all day. He's got a giant top in him, lots of turn and shape to his hip, carries that muscle all the way down to his hock, just gets a little tighter made today. He's a little harder muscled, tighter hided one. Maybe handles a little bit that way as well. Very impressive, though, in terms of that shape and dimension. I like the brockle face one quite a bit. I just need to change him up front. He gets a little straight off his front end, wants to stand up there on his tippy toes, but from his blade back, that's a bold rib, big top, big ended one that moves good enough off his hind leg. Just need to change him up front. I think he moves a couple places higher today. That's a good calf the young man's got there. This black and white steer, he's a beast. When you get behind him, he's really big-backed and big-ended, got a lot of base width, a lot of third dimension to this one's skeleton as well. You catch him at a 3/4, he's just opened up and extremely stout. We need to make him a little easier going two off of both ends. The red steer next in line, he's just a good feeding one. He's perfect in his forerib and flank. He's a calf that's level down his top, maybe just not as muscular and powerful as some of the others in the lineup, but that's an awful nice calf. This was a stout class, guys. Like I said, it just keeps getting stouter as they get heavier and more mature, and I like the one that rounds out the rear of the class as well. Just gets a little flatter in his design, maybe higher in his flank. They got his flank built, did a nice job presenting that one, but I think when we study his true underlying balance, that one gets deeper in his chest than he is in his flank, but he's an awful good one at that. Nice class.
Second call, Class 7, percentage Simmental. Second call, Class number 7, percentage Simmentals to the makeup arena. This is your third and final call in Class 11 market steer. Third and final call, Class 11 market steers.
Good class, and probably easier to place on top than throughout. I'll tell you, 3 through 6 is a head scratcher for me. I'm not foolish enough to tell you I got it right. I'll just kind of talk through what I saw, and you like them how you like them. Do feel comfortable with the top pair, and specifically the heifer we land on. That's another one that just oozes quality and maternal value, in my opinion. She's so comfortable and square how she sets her lower skeleton when stopped. She's so comfortable how she uses her skeleton when pulled to lead. And then again, her head, neck, shoulder in combination with how smooth she puts it all together in that big square hip and some nice round meat animal shape out of her lower quarters. Just very impressive how smooth and balanced that one is. Baldy in second's got big pieces. I like that one a bunch. She can go very athletic and reach and go very well, obviously, as she's pushing the young lady around. That one's as genuine in terms of rib and muscle as any, and in combination with a loose skeleton, natural shape, and the look she can give you up front is impressive. Simply put, she just doesn't do it as smoothly as our class winner. I'll be the first to tell you this heifer in third's got to be more ladylike. She paddles up front. I want her to be more maternal in terms of her look, but young man, you guys fit the mess out of this heifer. She is dialed in, and there's a lot of good to her. I like her back leg and how it hits the ground. I like all the density of body. I like the balance she projects. So she gives you a good look. I want to see her more ladylike, and she's got to go better out her front end. I commend you for having her dialed in. Heifer coming in next is one that I appreciate of the remaining three, that she's just more youthful and fresh in terms of her appearance. I like that about her, and that's why she worked herself up over those cattle. She looks fresher out here today. She's real genuine and stout in terms of her rib and body. Two things, I'd make her softer in her center cavity because she does give up some density to the next two heifers, and she stands just a little wide. I think she's sound enough, but she's maybe not quite as loose and gets outside of herself just a little bit. But freshness and youthfulness sorts her over the next pair. Heifer coming in next is a pair of two heifers that are very cowy bodied, very moderate, very maternal and soft in terms of their kind, yet still balanced down their top line. So I like them both. I'd lay their condition on them differently, make them fresher at this stage, make them a little more genuine in terms of natural shape. Specifically, the heifer coming in next of that particular pair gets a little waistier up front, a little wider in terms of how she stops them. Red heifer is completely different. That one's extremely feminine, extremely good in terms of her look up front. The length of and balance she's got down her top line is impeccable. And this young lady does a good job of getting her presented. That one, simply put, just needs more body. She needs to catch up in terms of center cavity in relation to her added frame.
Official results for class number 9 of your junior steer show. In first place, entry number 169 with a steer weighing 1,479 pounds, exhibited by Riley Rogers of Searsboro, Iowa. In second place, entry number 95, steer weighing 1,461 pounds, exhibited by Sydney Julian of Frankfort, Indiana. Third place, entry number 164, steer weighing 1,467 pounds, exhibited by Jackson Rapon of Mount Airy, Maryland. Fourth place, entry number 1, exhibited by Haley Allen of Wyoming, Illinois. Fifth place, entry number 91, exhibited by Jack Ireland of Waukee, Iowa. In sixth place, entry number 8, exhibited by Cade Banter of Eaton, Indiana. 7th place, entry number 206, exhibited by Aubrey Wood. 8th place, entry number 18, exhibited by Olivia Birchmeyer. This is your first call. All first and second place market steers. First call. All first and second place market steers, please make your way to the makeup arena.
Kind of an interesting class. I think the calf that starts the class for me, there's just something about this one's presence and his power and look that I just like. I mean, he's a massive bugger when you get up on him. He is so pulled apart in terms of his skeleton, stacks a ton of muscle on it, and for having that much muscle, that one can move. He can move. He might get just a nickel tight on the move, but I think it's just he's not relaxing. When he kind of relaxes and just puts his head down a little bit and goes, kind of softens up in his back and reaches out and covers ground pretty good. But I just like how opened up and powerful he is. Sure, he's got a little extra shoulder in him, but I'll tell you what, when you get behind him, probably don't mind that shoulder because he's packing a caboose to go with it. Super big legs, awesome hind leg. I like that calf. Like the red calf as well in second. This one from his shoulder back, he's just super good in his forerib, really deep in his flank. I think his underline balance is really nice. Got a good hip and hind leg. Awesome hind leg as he gets around the ring. Flexes from his hock all the way to the tip of his foot. And I guess for me today, this calf might get just a little rigid up front. Angle of his shoulders just a nickel steep. He could just reach a little better and maybe just gets a little plainer when we compare him to the steer that wins the class, but that's an awful good market steer as well. Young lady does an excellent job showing him. I like this calf in third as well. He's got a lot of shape and dimension down his back through his quarter. He's been kind of tough to show too. Hasn't just relaxed and let his top down and just come out here and moved. I think where he's at a disadvantage compared to the two steers directly in front of him, he's probably not quite as agile and flexible off of both ends as they are. Nice calf, though. Very good look. Same goes for the calf that comes in fourth. Young lady does an awesome job getting him stuck as well. He's got a lot of extension up through his front end. He's level topped and level hipped. Again, one that we just need to free up on the move, make him a nickel more flexible, but that's an awful good steer just in terms of design, muscularity, and overall composition. Did a nice job feeding that one. Steer comes next in line. Here's one that's just kind of a meat and potatoes kind of calf. He's got a ton of muscle from his shoulder all the way to his tail. Just big backed and lots of shape and dimension. What we need to do with this one, though, is just free him up a little bit. And I think it is because he does have all that muscle. He's probably just not flexible enough off either end. He could probably use a hoof trimming as well. I think that would help him move quite a bit better. young man's black baldy calf next in line. There's a soft middled one, calf that's got some shape and dimension. He's one, though, that, again, we just need to change him structurally and make him more flexible off of both ends to be more competitive in this drive. But I do like the body, the power that one possesses. Really an attractive striking calf in the silver calf that comes next. He might be one of the more attractive ones in the class as we compare him to some of the other calves above him and below him. For me today, though, I just need to have this calf be more rugged in his design. We need to stand him on more bone, give him a little bit more foot. He's no slouch, though. He's got a lot of quality, a lot of good looks about that one. I like his balance as well. The white steer's got a tremendous amount of length of body. He's one that looks like he's fed well. He's just a calf, though. He gets a little plainer in terms of his type and kind when we compare him to some of the other steers above him. And for me today, when I got my hands on this calf, he just got a little too harsh in his condition for this stage of his maturity and weight. Calf probably ought to be packing a little more condition over his rib cage today. Need to free that one up off of both ends as well. The black steer next in line, here's one that you like his look. He's one that's just extremely attractive. You just gravitate towards a calf like that when you got him out there on the profile. We need to lower him in his rear flank just to make him softer in his body today to be more competitive. Calf rounding out the class, we just need to change him in terms of his structural makeup off of both ends, but you really got to like that one. Young man's done a good job feeding him. He's got him presented. Calf's chucked full of muscle. Think he's a good steer. He just got in a heat that's extremely tough.
This is your first call, Class 8 and 9 percentage Simmentals. First call, Class 8 and 9 percentage Simmentals. Results of Class number 5 of your percentage Simmental heifers. In first place, entry number 262, Wallace Yolanda 388L, exhibited by Sashi Darling of Fairgrove, Missouri. In second place, entry number 259, WFS Miss Laney 378L, exhibited by Jillian Brown of Louisville, Ohio, with a weight per day of age of 3.11. In third place, entry number 263, ADPR 54L, exhibited by Cody Olson of Nowata, Oklahoma, with a weight per day of age of 2.74. Fourth place goes to entry number 256, exhibited by Callie Ray Childers of Hartsville, Alabama. Fifth place, entry number 257, exhibited by Delaney Bates of Sebawing, Michigan. Sixth place, entry number 255, Addison Ward. Seventh place, entry number 264, exhibited by Emma Martin. Now exhibiting in the Simmental ring is class number 6.
Good class. I love this top end. We're 5, 6, 7 heifers deep, a big time good. And our class winner doesn't want to participate, but to me it's one of those things, don't overthink it. That's an absolute animal. Just impressive when she hit the ring and just how stout she is, how big she is. But study that one in terms of her skeleton and the way she can go. Study that one from there up in terms of that volume and size, yet how she blends it is special, in my opinion, within this particular scenario. Again, just don't get too smart. Use the good ones. Red one's also awfully good and wants to act better. And young lady, you are showing her impeccably. Another very good animal just in terms of her structural integrity, the maternal sweep that she's got, the look of balance and quality she shows with. And then that's another one, to me, is stouter than I probably give her credit on the profile. I was wanting to call 3 stouter than her. I don't know. It's splitting hairs. So that's just a real good one. Maybe just not as wild in terms of the extra stoutness and feature and extra tightness of neck of our class winner. I'd be very proud to own the red heifer. Heifer in 3 is another one I'd be proud to own. That one's really good in her feet and leg structure as well, and the flexibility she's got throughout. That's another stout featured, good bodied one that's really intriguing how she holds her neck. and head high at the top of her shoulder. Just comes in a few more pieces in elite scenario, in my opinion. She's tucked up a little tighter in terms of her flank, maybe doesn't blend her shoulder back into her forerib just quite as neat as those cattle ahead of her, but a very, very high quality one standing in third. Another one that's extremely impressive, dialed in, well presented and shown, is this heifer in 4. On the stand, one of the best ones. Tucked up into her chest floor, very neat about her front end, dead level, and comes with extra shape of rib and power, which I appreciate. It's on the move where she just falls into 4, in my opinion. Just too upright on either end. Breaks and gets tight there in her loin. Just want to loosen that one up, and she can move her way up in this class. Hurt me a little bit to finally have to pull my star-headed one here. This one in a bubble, I love. Look how soft she is about her face, how sleek she is about her neck and shoulder, how dead level, how comfortable she goes. This young individual does a great job presenting her like that. At some point, she just ran out of gas, young lady. Not big enough, not enough heifer. I love that kind and think she makes the kind that can win Louisville down the road if we can just stack up a little more performance. Red Baldy, I told you this class was 6-7 deep. I don't know where we are. This was one of them I was talking about. Red Baldy's good. That one's good on her feet and legs in terms of reach out of her rear structure. Brings forth some power and natural substance over the top side of her skeleton, her hip and her lower quarter, and still blends it together very nice. In an elite scenario, a little plainer up front, a little wider over the top of her shoulder, just not as unique in her pieces as the cattle ahead of her, maybe. Still very, very good animal. This, I think, is going to win a lot for you, young man, down the road. Good meat and potatoes, solid kind of female that you'd like a bunch of coming in next. Again, flexible in terms of her skeleton, very maternal in terms of her body and view from the side. Love the extra length from nose to shell she brings forth. In relation to the red body in front of her, I just thought she was a little plainer in terms of her chest floor, a little frailer at her base in terms of her foot and bone. Very good cattle to be this far down in the lineup. Young lady's coming in next with a growthier, extended, performance-oriented, stout-featured one that needs more body in relation to frame, and I want to make her looser off either ends of her skeleton. Red heifer coming in next is stout-featured, needs to be a little more ladylike about her shoulder and give her more body depth to make her more pleasing from the side. Then we wrap up the class with 2 heifers coming in next that need to change them structurally and make them a little more feminine in their feature. Young man's got him a nice one that he's circling here to wrap us up that's really good on her feet and legs. I love the femininity and the levelness of spine. She just gets outmassed, empowered, and classed within this particular scenario.
Once again on first and second place. Attention in the barns, all first and second place market steers should be in the makeup arena. Once again, all first and second place market steers, you are needed in the makeup arena. Official results of class number 10 of your junior market steers. In first place, entry number 58, with a steer weighing 1,516 pounds, exhibited by Cody Ford of Pataskala, Ohio. Second place, entry number 22, steer weighing 1,510 pounds, exhibited by McKenna Burmeister of Rowley, Iowa. In third place, entry number 30, steer weighing 1,499 pounds, exhibited by Brian Clapp of Leroy, Illinois. In fourth place, entry number 49, a steer weighing 1,488 pounds, exhibited by Elizabeth Dice of Smithfield, Pennsylvania. Fifth place, entry number 82, exhibited by Victoria Heiler of Bucyrus, Ohio. Sixth place, entry number 48, exhibited by Tommy Dewey. 7th place, entry number 106, Parker Lewis. 8th place, entry number 61, Gracie Gasper. 9th place, entry number 42, Addison Darledge. And 10th place, entry number 60, Caden Gardner. This is your third and final call, Class 8 and 9 percentage Simmental's third and final call, Class 8 and 9 percentage Simmental's. This is your first call, Class 10, first call, Class 10 percentage Simmental's. Simmental entry number 354 to the makeup arena immediately. Simmental entry number 354 to the makeup arena.
I think we've got a really good calf on the top end of this class as well. They're big and mature, but I think these cattle are still acceptable in terms of their weight. And the calf that wins the class, I mean, how striking is he? You couldn't ask for one to be better marked just in terms of grabbing your eye. Not one that's fun to take care of with white on his stifle joint like that. But that's a calf for me. He's just got a neat look about him when we get him out here and we watch him move around the ring. He's a show steer. He's just got that great look, awesome balanced, awesome looking calf that's got a big back leg, big sound foot as he gets around the ring. Young lady does a phenomenal job getting him shown. Good calf. I like that one awful well. Like the one in second as well. There's one that's got a lot of length and extension. Again, he's on the upper side of being a little big, but he's a big-ended one, big-topped one. Maybe doesn't handle quite as fresh over his forerib. You can tell maybe she's been holding on him for a bit. He's gotten a little raw there, right there on his rib cage, but that's a big, stout, big-legged one as well. I like the blue roan steer that comes next in line. Maybe just gets a little flatter in his design, I think, when we compare him to some of the other steers directly in front of him, but there's a calf. The young lady's done a nice job feeding him. He gets out and goes off of both ends, I think, relatively correctly. Nice calf. Calf next in line. This one's extremely fresh for this weight range. You just look at his hair coat. You get your hands on him. He handles really nice. Problem is, when he gets out here amongst these men, he just doesn't look like he's big enough and stout enough. Maybe if he is in a class or two earlier, that calf would have rose to the top. He just gets outpowered a bunch, but that one has got a lot of quality about him. Nice sound calf. Young lady does a great job getting him ready as well in terms of getting him shown. Young man next in line, he's got a big boned, really rugged individual. I think as we study this calf, he's got some power. You like all that shape and dimension he's got in his forearm. He's got some width of chest, and he just carries that dimension from his backside of his shoulder all the way to his pin bones. Maybe doesn't balance up quite as well as some of the other cattle directly in front of him. That's an awful nice calf as well. Calf coming next in line of the young man's. We just need to free him up a bit. Maybe a calf that's getting a little staler up front, getting a little chubbier and chunkier when we compare him to some of his counterparts. Again, high quality show steer though right there. That calf's definitely a competitor, maybe just not 100% today in terms of presentation and maybe where he could be in terms of his growth pattern, just getting a little staler today. Young lady's calf that comes next in line. If we could change the way this one gets around off his rear too, I think he'd have moved up the line quite a bit. She's got him presented and dialed to the 9s. He's big-backed and big-ended. Just gets a little harder middled for me, and I just need him to go with a little more comfort at the ground off his rear too. Next calf in line's an extremely long-bodied steer. Calf that actually needs more days on feed. He's a calf I'd say that just way too raw today. He needs another 60-plus days, and I think it would get him there. You got to like his skeletal build. Calf coming next in line's an extremely muscular one. Again, a calf that he's so wound up in terms of his muscle pattern, it maybe hampers his structural integrity a bit. Need to just free him up as he gets around the ring. But that's a big top, big-ended one. Two steers next in line are calves that have been fed extremely well. They've met their end point. Young kids have done a good job in terms of presentation with hair and getting them shown. They're just cattle we need to make them sounder today as they get around the ring. Nice class.
Nice class of percentage Simmentals as we progress. The red ballies, just good cattle. I like this one a bunch in terms of her feet and leg integrity, the extra shape of rib and muscle she's got, that big hip and loin she's got, her, I think is impressive to be that sound and ladylike when she balances up. So good place to start and a little more of a layup in relation to this top pair compared to our last class. It was pretty tough on top. Young man's got a real striking kind of black baldy here in second. I love this one's genuine shape of rib and muscle, how much power she's got, how neat she looks on the side. Compared to our class winner, a little frailer in terms of her foot and a little snipier, less attractive about her head and front end. Heifer that's going to come in third of the remaining cattle. She's a little deeper and softer, more attractive in her set to her hock down to the ground than the heifer that's going to be behind her. Just a little plainer in terms of her look compared to our two ahead of her. Heifer coming in next is feminine featured, bold in terms of the spring to her rib, and real long and balanced down her top line. It's her undercarriage that I'd adjust. She's a little shallower bodied and unattractive in that extra hook she's got from her hock down. We wrap up the class with two females that are balanced down their top line, have some substance of power and muscle. Two females I'd change from a structure standpoint. Just make them a little ladier, a little more ladylike in how they lay their muscle and front end on.
Second call, class number 10, percentage Simmental. Second call, class 10, percentage Simmentals. Your results of class number 6, your percentage Simmental females. In first place goes entry number 279, L-Man J-Boy Cammy, 3185L, exhibited by Tanner Green of Mayville, Michigan, with a weight per day of age of 3.25. In second place, entry number 267, SIGR Strawberry 3194L, exhibited by Glennis McGurk of Kingman, Indiana, with a weight per day of age of 3.21. In third place, entry number 266, Bailey's Katrina 353L, exhibited by Reagan Burmeister of Rowley, Iowa, with a weight per day of age of 3.3. Fourth place goes to entry number 271, exhibited by Andrew Meyer of Clinton, Tennessee. Fifth place, entry number 273, exhibited by Bristol Bullen of Clinton, Indiana. Sixth place, entry number 278, Brent McIver. Seventh place, entry number 269, Wyatt Llewellyn. In eighth place, entry number 276, Delaney Chester. Ninth place, entry number 274, exhibited by Susanna Huey. 10th place, entry number 265, Eleanor Beck. And 11th place, entry number 277, Annabelle Rapp. And 12th place, entry number 272, Coy Ellington.
Well, as we get into our division here on our percentage Simmental side, getting along in the day, and the cattle aren't wanting to maybe cooperate as nicely as they might have in the morning, but still, these kids are doing an incredible job of sticking with them and doing an incredible job of sticking some really good cattle. And it starts with our first class, this bald-faced heifer. It's another one that's just so smooth and soft in the way she blends everything, so feminine and maternal. So good in terms of head quality and neck and shoulder, and the way she feeds into her forerib, how soft she is back into her center cavity. Everything fits her very comfortably, both in motion and at the stop. In relation to the heifer right behind her, there's just not as much of her, right? She's a little more moderate in her kind, certainly genuine. There's certainly enough of her, in my opinion, for what's there, but she's just not that big, stout one right behind her. Baldy, that was second, is big featured. She's round ribbed. She's got some power, still attractive in the way she puts it together, and so a real good pair there out of her first class. I really wish this heifer in the center would act right for us, and I'm sure this young man wishes even more than I do that she'd act right, because she's giving him an awfully hard time. Even though she doesn't want to show this evening, it's pretty apparent, at least to me, how good that animal is. So big, so stout, so big featured, yet puts it together, in my opinion, as good as any we've seen yet today. Red heifer behind her is incredible, and that was that real tough class. It was real deep. That red one had to fight through quite a few of them to get out here. Impeccable in terms of body dimension and structure, impeccable in terms of her maternal quality and just all the feature and quality that she exudes. In relation to a really tough set of cattle, she wants to run downhill ever so slightly in terms of her shoulder in relation to her hip, and maybe just a little plainer about her front end, although I think she's really good in both of those aspects. We got into the red and black baldies just a second ago. We talked about our red baldy class winner being good cattle, and that's accurate out here in this lineup. That one's as genuine in terms of just natural meat animal shape over her top line and hip and through her lower quarter as any. We talked about it being very impressive in terms of her ability to be that stout-featured, yet ladylike in terms of the way she balances, and just really good in terms of her structure. I don't know if she's quite as out there as the one right in front of her. I know that one's awfully good. And then we talked about the black baldy second, very deserving to be out here, and the young man's doing a good job sticking with that one. Really good in her center cavity, really good in just in terms of quality look. Impressive set of cattle. I'll go show you how I like this division.
Results of Class 11 of your 2024 North American Junior Steer Show. Your Class 11 winner goes to entry number 181, steer weighing 1,540 pounds, exhibited by Anna Sikafus of South Whitley, Indiana. Second place goes to entry number 131, steer weighing 1,650 pounds, exhibited by Emma Knoll of Crosswell, Michigan. Third place goes to entry number 67, steer weighing 1,540 pounds, exhibited by Marley Godwin of Prescott, Arkansas. Fourth place goes to entry number 47, exhibited by Mitchell Dewey of Harrison, Michigan. Fifth place, entry number 12, exhibited by Jet Beck of Clarksville, Indiana. Sixth place, entry number 122, Andra Music. Seventh place, entry number 85, exhibited by Haley Hillhouse. Eighth place, entry number 65, exhibited by Dalton Gibson. Ninth place, entry number 4, Cheyenne Baker. 10th place, entry number 32, exhibited by Kason Cole. Second and call, Class 10 percentage Simmentals. Second and call, Class 10 percentage Simmentals. This is your first call, Class 11. First call, Class 11 percentage Simmentals.
Just the two to kick off our next division, but two quality animals, well presented and shown. I elected to line them up with the heifer up front. I just think it's a little more attractive in the way she collects herself and puts it all together. Very long spine, very level down her top line, nicely presented, good shape to go along with a good look from the side. We'd maybe make her a little softer and just a little looser skeleton. I don't know that our second place heifer adjusts it or fixes us enough to switch the pair, in my opinion. That one in her own right is real dense and burly throughout her body and bone work, still yet balanced and level from her top side of her shoulder all the way to her hip, just a little plainer everywhere. Want to make her more ladylike, maybe a little more genuine in her shape.
This is your third and final call, Class 10, Percentage Simmental's third and final call, Class 10. This is your second call, Class 11, Percentage Simmental's second call, Class 11. And ladies, once again, as we're getting ready to slap our grand champion steer here at your 2024 North American, we'd like to welcome you once again to the Harold Workman Jr. Steer Show. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will recognize our current president and CEO, Mr. David Beck.
Well, good afternoon, and welcome to the 51st International Exposition. It's great to have all of you here, particularly those here that are competing. It's been a wonderful period of time. The quality of livestock is amazing. So we're excited about this week. Everything appears that we're breaking all records. So we anticipate probably over 200,000 people come through the doors during this period of time this year. The rodeo's been great. The partnerships, I'm so proud of our staff team and our leadership in that position. All the team works together to that end. In just a moment, I want to just point out a gentleman to my left over, Mr. Harold Workman. Mr. Harold Workman helps put this thing together, get it started back, I think, in 1974. Harold, good to see you. Thank you for your leadership and for all the years of your dedication to get us where we are today in the livestock industry here in Louisville, Kentucky, that we're recognized worldwide. Also, I want to introduce one of our sponsors here, Michael Jenkins with Farm Credit Mid-America. They've been a tremendous partner in many things we do, but also particularly with the North American this time, and just really appreciate what they do. Besides serving their clients, I watched them down through the years, heavily involved in working with public policy of things that directly affect agriculture in rural America. Please make welcome to the microphone, Mr. Jenkins.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today at the North American International Livestock Exposition for the selection of the Grand Champion Junior Market Steer. My name is Michael Jenkins, and I'm an Agriculture Loan Officer out of Russellville, Kentucky, and I'm thrilled to be here on behalf of Farm Credit Mid-America. For over a century, we've been supporting rural communities and agriculture with reliable financial services as part of the farm credit system. We're proud sponsors of this event with Kentucky venues, and our support extends to programs like 4-H and FFA. These initiatives are vital as they build community leaders, equip youth with essential skills, and encourage diverse career paths in agriculture. Here at the North American, we see firsthand the dedication and hard work these young individuals invest. These lessons they learn in the show ring build their confidence and shape them into future agriculture leaders. A big thank you to Kentucky venues for their meticulous planning and to 4-H and FFA for their outstanding partnerships. We're honored to be a part of your journey and your future success. Thank you.
At this time, we'd also like to recognize additional staff here joining us for the selection of your grand champion here at your North American. We'd also like to recognize Kentucky State Fair Board member, Mr. Joe Goggin, the current president and CEO, Mr. David Beck, and of course the executive director of expositions and the GM of the North American, Ms. Corinne Fetter. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in putting our hands together and welcoming our faculty here to the show. And a big thanks to our sponsors, Farm Credit America. They are a farmer-owned lender, which is why they offer a range of loans and services designed to help farmers grow and prosper. We understand why no one knows a farmer like a farmer does. Learn more about Farm Credit Mid-America and hear from some of our farmers at fcma.com. Once again, that's fcma.com. So a big thanks to Farm Credit Mid-America, as well as Sullivan Supply for donating the product prizes right here in front of us for our top 5 steers. This is your third and final call, Class 11 percentage Simmentals. Third and final call, Class 11 percentage Simmentals.
Let's give a round of applause to our market steer exhibitors. You know, when I started seeing these cattle come out in the classes, I thought, man, this is a lot tougher deal than last year. You know, last year I thought there was one steer that just walked in here and kind of captivated me, and he needed to win rather handily. And I'll be honest with you, right? Hello. Okay. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulties. I mean, what I was going to say is I got my top 5 picked right now, but I'll tell you what, this is tough. Undoubtedly the toughest situation I've ever been put in judging a show. I think we've seen a pile of good steers today. Cattle that they kind of fit my bill. They're good enough looking. They got big feet and legs. They get around the ring good. They're boxy built. They got an awesome rib cage in them, a big back, good enough looking, and like I said, they just kind of fit that mold. And I think if we just study all these classes out here, you'll kind of see that there's kind of a certain type and kind, I guess, a lot of us like, right? I'm not the only guy that likes these ones. I'm sure if we put somebody else in this situation, the same cattle would rise to the top. You know, it's been an honor to judge this show for the second time here at the North American out here on the green chips. You know, last year when I got home, my wife said, hey, you need to just set those boots on the mantle. And I didn't, and it kind of made her mad because they get a little dyed, you know, and she thought that'd be kind of neat to sit up there. So I think this year I'll take them and put them on the mantle, kind of a sentimental thing. You know, this isn't something I take lightly. I know all the hard work and dedication that goes into getting these cattle out here, and this is not an easy job. In fact, my wife and I were talking about it last night at dinner, and she said you couldn't pay her enough money to get put in this situation because it's just so hard, and is there ever a right answer, right? Everybody's got their own opinion of what they like, and you know, the one thing I want to do is just congratulate everybody involved. My hat's off to all the breeders that have spent countless nights calving and breeding, putting embryos in. We all know that those of us in the club calf business that it's not easy, right? It's not for the weak-hearted. It's for someone that's tough and doesn't mind getting up in the middle of the night, and you deal with quite a bit of failure, I feel like, trying to raise these ones that are just so exceptional. They're kind of, you know, they're the outliers for sure, but we're all in search of that. So my hat's off to you breeders. Anybody you know, that knows any of them, congratulate them. This is a big deal to put a calf in this lineup. You know, and then the other thing I'd like to do is congratulate all the people that are getting these cattle ready. I mean, the presentation just keeps getting better and better. And, you know, again, last night at dinner, I told my wife, I said, you know, sometimes I just stand out here in awe looking at the back legs and the backs and how these cattle are clipped. It's just so impeccable. And you know, the neat thing is all you guys and gals in the back getting them ready, you guys are role models for a lot of these kids here. You know, they're going to be our next generation. So my hat's off to you. And the parents, I've been there. I know what it's like to travel miles in search of one to, get him out in a ring to where he's going to be competitive. And, there's a lot of money involved to get here. And, anytime you got a kid, though, that's as dedicated as some of these individuals in the lineup, I think you just got to get them there, though, and get them the kind of cattle they need to be competitive. And so my hat's off to the parents and the families. And then the exhibitors. The neat thing is there hasn't been a bad face all day. All these kids, even the poor kids that went back to the barn, and that's a tough deal for me. Like I said, I know what it's like. I grew up doing this, and this is just such a classy group of kids, and I congratulate all of you. You've done a phenomenal job. Great showmen all throughout the show. And, one thing I always say with a steer show, you kids out here, you're kind of the face of the beef industry. When you really think about it, the people that live in town, they come to a stock show and they see these champion steers, and I'll tell you what, it's really a good promotion tool for the beef industry just to see, there's nothing cooler than a champion steer at a major stock show. So I commend you guys. That's something not to take lightly, even if you're at your county fair, make sure you're respectable, and I think each and every one of you are doing a great job out here presenting, our form of agriculture to the general public. I congratulate you for that. So with that, I'm going to keep walking around these things and see if I can confuse myself a little more. As you probably saw, there's 3 of them standing right there in the middle that I just get drawn to, and I like things about each and every one of them. They're phenomenal cattle just in terms of their type and kind, and I think a guy could just stand there and nitpick them on all day and, say, well, I could do this and I can do that. But there's a couple of them I think that really fit together. The top 5 is going to be stout. I think they'd have given the run, anything in the top 5 this year would have been in contention for champion last year. So I'm going to leave on that note. Again, I've been humbled by this. I'm honored to have been selected to judge this 2 years in a row, and thank you.
And congratulations, your grand champion market steer hit the 2024 North American from class number 7. It goes to entry number 167, exhibited by Reagan Rogers of Savannah, Missouri. And your reserve grand champion of market steer out of class number 9 goes to entry number 169, exhibited by Riley Rogers of Sealsboro, Iowa.
Well, thank goodness they were picking the champion steer on the other side, because quite frankly, this trio's tough, and it's tough for me specifically because the heifer that is my favorite, I thought about putting 3rd just because of the way she was acting. And so I hate to make you come back out here again with you. I just think she's too good and combines the 2 heifers behind her in a lot of ways, in my opinion. This angle is very impressive. The boldest ribbed, stoutest featured female, in my opinion, in terms of just natural rib shape, softness, the hips she's got, the way she blends it so incredibly. And as we saw multiple times, she's so athletic and comfortable in the way she works her skeleton. So she might just be a little fatter about her front end, about her neck, maybe not quite as whistle fronted. But man, that is a ripping good animal that I think puts so much good together, in just the mass that she has, and yet comfortability of skeleton and still balancing it the way that she does. Had to use her. Baldy coming in next is second because she's my absolute favorite on the profile. And young lady, it's not lost on me. If I was dragging one that looked like this, I'd be expecting to win the show. So understand that. That one's as comfortable and soft in terms of her feet and legs as any, as good in terms of body depth, of flatness of shoulder, of the way she holds her front end, of balance from their back. Simply put, she's got to be a shot stouter for me to switch that pair. When you get in behind the cattle, she's just a hair too flat in terms of her rib and muscle for me to switch that particular pair. My goodness, she's special on the profile. Young lady, I'm not smart enough to find a hole in your heifer, so I'm not going to say one. Simply put, I don't know if she's as special in terms of stoutness of her class winner or quite as neat in terms of just the profile of the one in second, but that one is awfully bulletproof and complete. She just kind of fell in that third hole because of the special pieces of 1 and 2. Heifer coming in next is good on her feet and legs, super practical, just not as out there in terms of quality, in my opinion, of the top trio. Still very high quality and very complete in her own right. Young man coming in next gives us just a shot more power. I like that about her. She's genuine in her rib and muscle. She's really good when you get in behind her, just in terms of having a little extra stoutness of feature down low and from behind in relation to the two around her. That one's just not quite as ladylike specifically up front. She kind of wants to toe out and just be a little rounder about her shoulder. We get back into a really feminine featured, sound structured one that's soft in terms of her belly and really long from nose to tail. I want to make her a little stouter featured. A little more heifer there when you get in behind her, a little more heifer there at her base. Baldy coming in next, young man. You do a good job of getting this one shown. She's presented very well. I commend you for that. That one's real stout featured and real dialed in terms of presentation and just from the side. She's just got to go looser off either end to get any higher for me. Red Baldy is a little more practical in terms of size and structure. I like that about her. We just ran out of cow. I got him over there, and there's just not enough of her in relation to the big stout Baldy coming in next. One that is good on her feet and legs and has some stoutness of feature, rounds us up. This is a very good heifer to be this far down. That one to me is just a little more terminal in terms of her look about her head. Needs to be bolder in terms of her overall body shape to get any higher. Extremely good class, very good top trio. Congratulations to your winner.
And congratulations, your third overall market steer here at the 2024 North American goes to Delaney Geyer of Robinson, Illinois. Your fourth overall market steer goes to entry number 184, exhibited by George Sinclair of Williamsburg, Iowa. Fifth overall market steer goes to entry number 25, exhibited by Kenzie Campbell of Corydon, Iowa. Once again, congratulations to all of our 2024 North American market steer exhibitors.
Well, as we get our percentage Simmental class winners in this next division settled, we had that class of 2 out of the first set, and 2 good ones. The one over here that's going to win the class or won the class, just smooth in the way she puts it all together, very comfortable and balanced and nice in terms of her presentation. I'd still soften her up a little bit, maybe just balance her a little differently when she goes, but still a good heifer, deserving to be standing out here. Second place heifer was that real dense, rugged one that's got a lot of quality just in terms of the levelness of back and out of her hip. We get back into that class we just discussed that was so tough between this particular pairing, so tough between that trio. Lots of depth there. We're going to keep these 2 heifers out of the class we just saw together. They'll be champion in reserve.
This is your second call, Class 12 and 13 percentage Simmentals. Second call, Class 12 and 13 percentage Simmentals. Your Class 7 results of your percentage Simmental female show. In first place goes to entry number 280, Miss Next Time 3193, exhibited by Whitney Ann Meyer of Clinton, Tennessee. Second place goes to entry number 285, BCIIHSC Sandy 24L, exhibited by Cooper Hollingsworth of Lebanon, Indiana. Third place goes to entry number 283, HS Pollyanna L840, exhibited by Trinley Robeson of Culpeper, Virginia. Fourth place to entry number 286, exhibited by Laney Spiller. Fifth place to entry number 281, Taylor Ellington. Sixth place to entry number 282, exhibited by Kimberly Burnett. Your Division III champion percentage Simmental goes to entry number 279, exhibited by Tanner Green of Mayville, Michigan. Your Division III reserve champion goes to entry number 267, exhibited by Glennis McGurk of Kingman, Indiana. Your champion bred and owned Division III female goes to entry number 271, exhibited by Andrew Meyer of Clinton, Tennessee. Your Class 8 results of your percentage Simmental female show. In first place, entry number 287, TBC2 Classy Lady L706, exhibited by Alyssa Miller of Lanark, Illinois. In second place, entry number 354, T Triple M Annabeth, exhibited by Brayley Ware of Jerseyville, Illinois. This is your third and final call on 12 and 13. Once again, third and final call, Class 12 and 13 percentage Simmentals. Results of class number 9 of your percentage Simmental females. In first place, entry number 296, APB ALL Phyllis 381L, exhibited by Addison Bartlow of Monticello, Illinois. In second place, entry number 295, Lucky Star 302L, exhibited by Ava Marino of Clarence Center, New York. Third place goes to entry number 290, Pewster She's a Blackbird 50L, exhibited by Josie Phillips of Maysville, Kentucky. Fourth place goes to entry number 291, exhibited by Kylie Berg. Fifth place, entry number 298, exhibited by Lane Reiser of Mount Gilead, Ohio. Sixth place, entry number 297, Gabrielle Lewis. Seventh place, entry number 293, Eli Creech. Eighth place, entry number 299, Lacey Miltner. And ninth place, entry number 292, Carly Marks.
Fun class, and we're getting to that point where a lot of the bottom end, if you will, has kind of weeded its way out, and we've got some really, really good ones on top of all these classes. Another fun one to sort, much like our previous tough decision, we had a trio of females, I think, that are awfully good and you can do some different things with. The heifer that wins was always winning to me, and I'm not the size police, okay? So when I say something, I think something's a little too small, or is good because it's big, or it's a little too big, I'm just taking it for what it's worth, and I'm just analyzing the animal for what they are. That thing is so big. It's impressive because you've got two moderate females behind her, but she's just as good in terms of her structure and her flexibility, just as good in terms of the maternal sweep to her body and the depth and volume that she's got. And then she's just so much bigger and more extended. It's extremely impressive. Just a beast of a female and a very impressive place to start. This heifer was third for me. Test. The heifer in second was third for me for a decent chunk of time, but she stopped and planted over here, and she's just too good. I think too smooth, specifically when you get to either front or rear three-quarter angle of that one, how flat-shouldered she is, how ladylike she is through her front end, how she transitions back into the robust center cavity that she's got. And then again, another one of those females that surprises me, how smooth she blends, and yet how pretty big hip she is when you actually step in behind her. Another one of those things that's just so loose and comfortable on the go. So I thought at first she was getting outpowered by the two around her, and she certainly just isn't as big and stout and quite as impressive in my opinion, in terms of our class winner. But man, that one just standing there like that, a very, very impressive animal that puts a lot of good together. I'm a sucker for baldies as a Simmental enthusiast. This one hits me pretty hard. And again, I told you it was 3 deep. This one's very comfortable on her feet and legs. She's deep and soft and balanced and level and stout featured. Probably just the extra power got her just a hair here at the end in that second, third decision. A little more shoulder with the shape that she's got, a little plainer through her front end, and just the longer she was out here, just read just
Test. Test. 1.
Okay, how would that get shut off? That is bizarre. I have no idea.
Attention in the barns, attention in the barns. Supreme Drive this evening will begin at 7:30. Once again, the Supreme Drive to be held at 7:30.
Well, what a class. And I said yesterday in the purebred show, I learned a long time ago that judging these things are a thankless job. You're going to make more people upset than you'll make happy, and rightfully so. I'd be upset if I was standing down towards the middle of the bottom of this class, because all of these cattle are good enough to come win Louisville, in my opinion. I'll just tell you what I saw. I guess I keep picking heifers that want to be contrary, because this heifer just got in the front and didn't really want to show herself off. And quite frankly, I spent a lot of the class trying to beat her, because I do think she bows just ever so slightly from her hock to the ground, rolls on her outside hoof wall just ever so slightly, and you'll see maybe not quite the deep heel all the time that we've really been after. But man, that thing is so good, and I certainly think she's sound. I just decided I wasn't going to be too smart and do split hairs on structure when that one's awfully sound, at least in my opinion, because then from there up, she is so fresh in terms of her hair and condition, so tucked up in her chest floor, so ladylike about her head, neck, and shoulder, so balanced, so robust and soft. We just landed on her, even though that wasn't necessarily the front runner. Heifer in a second is simply at a hair disadvantage, in my opinion, as much as anything, and that is a tough reason to beat one, and certainly not the main factor, but it obviously helped her. It obviously help her if she was as woolly bodied as the cattle around her on the surface, and I worked her up as high as I did because I just like that kind. That's the practical, sound structured, deep-sided, robust ribbed kind of cattle we've been after that are just good kind of cattle. Not as neat and flashy, in my opinion, in her front end in terms of the heifer right in front of her or behind her. And because she's at a hair disadvantage, you can just see she's carrying a little more pones around her tailhead. So minor things that sorted that pair. I do like that kind in terms of a cow prospect, quite frankly, and a show heifer. I prefaced it a minute ago about bringing a heifer and expecting to win Louisville. Young lady, if I had one that looked like this and showed her this well, I'd be planning on winning Louisville. And so I get it. That one to me is extremely impressive in terms of how dialed in she is, how level she is, how attractive she is. She does have that extra cushy feet and legs that we've been after. I love that one everywhere. Simply put, we've taken some cattle that are a little bigger, and I told you I wasn't the size police, but simply put, if they're going to be that big, I want her to be just a little deeper in the center portion of her body, and it's less noticeable to me on the profile, although she's not as deep, more when you get on a three-quarter view. I just want her to be a little softer and rounder there, in an elite setting up here on top. Very good animal there to be third. Same thing in 4 and 5. I told you I'd be frustrated if I was this far down the class. These young ladies should be frustrated at me. This is a good practical animal, and both of them you can talk similarly. Good on their feet and legs, good body, great cows. I'd love to have them and never raised one quite as good as these. The one that leading out the gate is just a little fuller in her chest, and again, just not quite as special in terms of size and out there in his pieces as the 3 ahead of her. Same thing with this heifer in 4, as we mentioned. Impeccable animal that's bulletproof in terms of her build and structure, just not as stout and powerful as some cattle ahead of her, and she wants to taper and funnel to her base a little bit compared to the heifer right in front of her. Baldy coming in next is awfully dang good. That one's really sharp down her top line, has some extra shape when you step in behind her, so to be that attractive on the profile with the kind of substance she's got, it's impressive. She wants to be a little forward from her shoulder down, throw her head down, and just not as attractive on the go. Young man's got a type. He just had this similar heifer out here, and I like him. He's got good cattle, big-footed, heavy structured, lots of them, lots of power, and lots of look. Just doesn't piece it together quite as nice as some cattle in front of them. We wrap up with the 2 Baldies here. Good kind of females that have a lot of shape and a lot of quality. 2 cattle I'd change structurally to get them any higher in the class.
First call, all champion and reserve champion percentage Simmental females to the makeup arena. First call, all champion and reserve champion and percentage Simmental females to the makeup arena. Your Class 11 results are your percentage Simmental female show. In first place goes to entry number 316, TJSC She's a Queen 202L, exhibited by Lael Colson of Kenton, Ohio. In second place, entry number 321, SNS Cowan Dua Lipa 758L, exhibited by Hadley Hendrickson of Farmland, Indiana. In third place, entry number 320, UDE Princess 172L, exhibited by Brenna Bartlow of Monticello, Illinois. Fourth place goes to entry number 325, exhibited by Brecken Bloomberg of Secor, Illinois. Fifth place goes to entry number 317, Josie Phillips of Maysville, Kentucky. Sixth place, entry number 324, Megan Brown. Seventh, entry number 319, Trace Falkenstein. Eighth place goes to entry number 318, Maggie Farmer. Ninth place, entry number 323, Hannah Van Hoy. Now exhibiting in the ring is class number 12 of your percentage Simmental heifers.
Good class, lots of quality. I like the heifers in 2 and 3 quite a bit, but our class winner daylights it. That one to me is the cow prospect show heifer that we've been after all day, specifically within this scenario. I like a bunch about the heifer in second. That one is as comfortable in its joint work as any, deep-sided, very level and attractive in her lines, and then she can stop and plant like that. Nothing wrong with her, just not as big and stout and burly, not quite as out there in terms of her pieces as her class winner. I'd still love to have her. Heifer in third.
Check, check. 1, 2. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Results of class number 12 of your percentage Simmental females. In first place, entry number 330, SNS NXF TSSC, Jennifer Aniston, exhibited by Chance Clark of Muldrow, Oklahoma. In second place, entry number 336, JTOF Fergie's Lucky Lady, exhibited by Colton Anderson of Lake Village, Indiana. Third place goes to entry number 335, Miss CCF Jestress L305, exhibited by Tyler Miller of Atlanta, Illinois. Fourth place goes to entry number 337, exhibited by Abby Woolball of Orville, Ohio. Fifth place, entry number 339, exhibited by Trinley Robson of Culpeper, Virginia. Sixth place goes to entry number 331, exhibited by Augustus Rye.
Check 1, 2. 2, 1, 2, check.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Attention in the barns, all champion and reserve champion percentage Simmental females, please make your way to the makeup arena. Once again, all champion and reserve champion percentage Simmental females, please make your way to the makeup arena.
This one does. The two wirelesses do not. Check 1, 2.
The show seemingly continues to get tougher as we go, as it should, and I'm thoroughly impressed with specifically this top pair. The heifer that leads off to me is just so good in terms of maternal quality. Specifically, I like her better in her front end in terms of how she's laid back in her shoulder a notch better, how she works her front end a little more comfortably than the heifer right behind her. But just looking at that heifer in her own bubble, my gosh, that's a good one. Very good place to start. Congratulations, young lady. And to cap it off, get behind that one. Really pretty bold rib, pretty big hipped. Young man, expertly shown, expertly fitted, intriguing animal, an intriguing breeding piece, bigger, stouter, so attractive. Interesting because she is as comfortable as any we've seen out of her rear structure. Again, the one flaw I found in her, at least in my opinion, is she's a little forward in her shoulder, wants to roll just a little bit and throw her head and bob it just ever so slightly compared to our class winner in a scenario of two absolute elite ones. But my gosh, special animal, congratulations to you. Heifer coming in next just naturally falls into third, and that feels weird to say on one that good. Very comfortable on her feet and legs, very deep-bodied, very attractive, obviously, when she stops and plants. You'll catch her getting a little base wide and over at times, and maybe just not quite as special in terms of look and out there-ness of build as those two ahead of her, but that's an awfully good one to be standing three. A young man circles around one that I think is really, really good just in terms of genuine shape and yet being very long spine. Just a little plainer everywhere than the cattle in front of him. Not quite as soft in her undercarriage, just a little plainer than the cattle up ahead. Young man's got a good built one here. I like this one for a cow prospect a bunch. Another animal that's at a hair disadvantage, so you kind of see every nook and cranny, but she puts it together really good. Very flexible, got some performance, got some length, got some depth. Just a little flatter in her makeup, not as stylish, a little longer in how she's developing in her udder. Heifer coming in next is stout-featured and sharp-fronted. Just want to make her a little looser in her spine. We wrap up the class with two heifers that are really stout, big-footed, heavy-structured, deep-sided one that's just too plain and just a little too plain up front. We wrap up the class with one that's very good. I like the one from a moderation standpoint, the reach she's got out of her lower skeleton. Just want to lay her muscle on her a little more ladylike to work her up in the class.
Results of class number 13 of your percentage Simmental females. In first place goes to entry number 341, Annie Lou 318L, exhibited by Carly Sanders of Leesburg, Ohio. In second place, entry number 346, Annie Lou 325L, exhibited by Kelton Arthur of Stillwater, Oklahoma. Third place goes to entry number 343, Harker's Trixie 105, exhibited by Kyra Moore of Fountain Run, Kentucky. In fourth place goes to entry number 347, exhibited by Drew Visage. In fifth place, entry number 348, exhibited by Colton Wynn of Modoc, Indiana. Sixth place, entry number 349, exhibited by Emma Armstrong of Unionville, Tennessee. Seventh place to entry number 342, exhibited by Elena Lucy. Eighth place, entry number 344, Kenzie Kelly.
Well, what a fun division to sort through. I said it one time in the Purebred show yesterday in terms of a scenario lending itself to say this is what makes Louisville, Louisville. In my opinion, this division, this set of cattle makes Louisville, Louisville specifically on the Simmental and percentage Simmental side. These cattle are so good, and it was such a challenge to work through each one of these classes and a lot of different things, in my opinion, that can be done. And I'm never going to be foolish enough to tell you that my opinion is right, because I don't think there is one, and I certainly get plenty of things wrong. It is my opinion that these cattle are awesome, that these kids have done an awesome job. As late as it's gotten in the day, these cattle aren't wanting to do it, and these kids are staying after it and trying to win and being aggressive, and that excites me. And at the end of the day, again, it's just my opinion, but it's been an honest one and a straightforward one that I'm giving you, and so take it for what it's worth. Heifer out of the first class is special, in my opinion, and we talked about she's special because she is so big. Gigantic feet, gigantic legs, just a bigger scaled female, not too big in my opinion, but she is just so high performing, so long from nose to tail, yet uniquely has the ability to get and go with her lower skeleton, to maintain her top line nearly level, to bring with some added frame, some volume and body depth and density to go with it. And she is so fresh, so well managed, so well presented. She's a fun creature to evaluate. As we have to get tough on really good cattle, I see two things on this one. She maybe comes with just a hair more chest floor, although I call that one very fresh. And she is so long from nose to tail and so long spine. She's just a little tighter in terms of her forerib, or she gives just a little bit in her forerib to remain with the kind of flexible skeleton that she's got of that length, and actually holds it together probably better in motion than she does stopped. But my goodness, just what an absolute animal to evaluate. Special creature. Heifer out of this next class, I told you, wasn't necessarily in that dynamic the one that jumped out to me to initially win the class, and I've hung my hat the last 2 days, or at least tried to, in terms of structure, or at least my interpretation of it. And that one to me, as we talked about, just wants to roll on her outside hoof wall ever so slightly, and so she just will give you a little more rigid set down than, say, the calf right in front of her, the cattle around her for that matter. But I certainly still call her sound structured, and man, we gained an absolute show heifer in terms of body depth and symmetry. She is so neat about her head, so tight in her neck, so balanced in the way she hooks in and then goes from there back, and there's still enough of her. She gets outmassed by the two cattle around her, but there's still enough of her. Again, it's exciting how well she puts her skeleton together, how balanced and attractive she is on the profile. I call the next one an absolute cow prospect. I like this one a bunch, and she is. She doesn't quite have the hair quality of the cattle standing around her, but that one's just a good animal in terms of feet and leg structure and bringing forth structural integrity with some added shape. I like the cowiness to her center body. I like the genuine muscle shape she comes out of her top line in. She's level in terms of her hip, yet comes with a lot of shape about her hip and lower quarter, and she balances in proportions. To be as stout and powerful as she is, she balances in proportions very well, is very well prepared and expertly shown. I call that one as fresh as any. Simply put, when you step back, to me the decision is, yeah, she's not as soft-haired and maybe not quite as freak of a show heifer in terms of her lines, but I do think that's an awfully good cow prospect. This one coming out of the next class is special, in my opinion as well, and it's that view right there. That's an absolute dialed-in animal just in terms of nose to tail, the way she hooks everything together so well. And again, as we've talked about a couple times today, when you get in behind that one, I'd say that one's as robust in terms of her rib cage as any. I'd say she's as big and stout-hipped and has enough meat animal shape in her as any to be able to collect herself the way she does, squarely yet comfortably and flexibly at her base, yet be fresh and elevated and stamped in terms of her look. I think that's awfully special. So very good heifers, very good throughout. Seconds are awfully intriguing. As I mentioned, you could certainly bring them over here and still have the same tough pick. Congratulations to all the exhibitors. We'll take one more look and line up the division, how I like them. Congratulations on a great show. And if you're still with us this evening, give these kids a round of applause.
Your Division 5 champion female out of class number 13 goes to entry number 341, Annie Lou 318L, exhibited by Carly Sanders of Leesburg, Ohio. Tension in the barns. Once again, Supreme Drive will begin at 7:30. Once again, Supreme Drive to begin at 7:30. Once again, all Supreme Female Drive contestants, please be sure to bring your registration papers. Once again, all Supreme Drive female participants, please bring your registration papers. All champion and reserve champion percentage Simmental females to the makeup arena. All champion and reserve champion percentage Simmental females, please make your way to the makeup arena.
A practical one as we get her stopped to initiate what I believe to be her final division. That one's good on her feet and legs, obviously. She's got some body depth in relation to her frame. Maybe not the stoutest featured or the flashiest one we've seen just yet today, but at the same token, I think really practical in her skeleton. Young lady, you've got a nice heifer, and we'll see her back in the division just in a second.
Congratulations to your Division 5 Reserve Champion and female. Goes to entry number 305 out of Class 10. Soul Love 2 123L, exhibited by Brecken Bloomberg of Secor, Illinois. Your Class 14 results and also your champion Division 6 female goes to entry number 352, TNT's Fresca's Freedom, exhibited by Mackenzie Sullins of Georgia. Attention in the barns, all champion and reserve champion breed winners, please make your way to the makeup arena. Once again, all champion and reserve champion breed winners, please make your way to the makeup arena. All champion and reserve champion bred and owned percentage Simmental females, please make your way to the makeup arena immediately. Once again, all champion and reserve champion bred and owned percentage Simmental females, please make your way to the makeup arena.
Well, again, it's certainly not lost on me to get this opportunity to have a microphone in Freedom Hall and be the closing show, or at least the show that closes out before the close. And so it's been fun to me. It's special. I grew up in this breed. We went up and down the road through the Junior Association. And so it's fun to get the opportunity to do this. And as I mentioned earlier, I didn't take it lightly. And I'm not one that thinks you should give a long speech. I don't give speeches when I judge the shows because, quite frankly, I got a lot to figure out on my own just yet. But at the same token, I do want to mention that I appreciate the North American for having me. I appreciate ASA and AJSA for sticking with me. I feel like it's been a long road here, and not everybody's going to understand, but I feel like I've worked to try to get this opportunity for the last year and a half and wasn't quite sure it was going to happen when it all was all said and done. Quite frankly, it started in rings like this, showing Simmental cattle. It transitioned into having to work extremely hard to get the opportunity to come with a judging team. I'm not going to tell you how many years ago because it's getting further all the time, but to get to the opportunity to come with a judging team to this event and understand this scenario and how special this place and this opportunity is. And so, again, I will say my first show following getting the opportunity to judge collegiately was 30 minutes from my house, and 12 heads showed up. And so if you want a piece of advice at all, I just say if it's important to you, keep plugging away and keep working hard, and good things will happen. Incredible set of cattle, in my opinion. Again, and it started fast in our first division with two I liked a bunch, trade-off between the two. This one standing in front of us here that wins the division, very good on her feet and legs, very deep-bodied, very futuristic in terms of the extra stretch she's got to her front end, very balanced, although she does get just a little easier in her top, specifically as we've gotten longer in the day. I think a special heifer out of the second division. That one to me is going to do a bunch of winning. She's still young, but she's going to have the ability to do a bunch of winning over the next year because that one's impeccable in terms of structural correctness, impeccable in terms of the way she collects herself and balances. I'm glad this one finally slowed down for us just a hair, as I probably speak too soon. That's an absolute creature that I think you've got to consider. Big feet, big legs, goes good, just extremely high volume, extremely neat how much power that one's got in her and how well she collects all that power and balances it together very attractively. She will at times get a little lazy right behind her shoulders as well and run downhill ever so slightly now that she stops for us, but my goodness, that's an incredible animal in my opinion. Another animal that had to slow down for us was out of this next division, and that was a class that was 3 deep that I thought were special. This was the practical cow prospect that brought forth a lot of shape, a lot of volume, a lot of rib cage, and still does it in a really sound structured package and still very attractive. She's not the coolest necked one we've seen all day, certainly, but I do think that's good cattle in a very high-end female in a very high-end division. Speaking of a high-end division, that was tough. And as we talked about, that kind of division makes this show what it is and makes it special to have the opportunity when you get to win those scenarios that keeps pushing you in the barn late at night, in my opinion, when you're this close. And those two individual animals, I think, are awfully special. I love this heifer that won that division. Young lady out of her oldest division, be proud to be out here. You've got a nice cow prospect. That one's feet and legs are right. That one's as practical as any, in my opinion, in terms of being able to get turned out and do some good. She's not as flashy, not as big and stout as some cattle ahead of her, but it's pretty dang awesome to be standing out here and certainly deserving show for showing up. So again, we've got a heck of a group of seconds, and we'll pull one over just in a second. Again, thank you, North American and the Simmental Association for having me. One last time, give the Percentage Simmental Show a round of applause.
And your grand champion, Percentage Simmental Heifer, goes to entry number 341, Annie Lou 318L, exhibited by Carly Sanders of Leesburg, Ohio. Congratulations, your reserve champion, Percentage Simmental female, goes to entry number 305, Salt Love 2123L, exhibited by Brecklin Bloomberg of Secor, Illinois. Your champion bred and owned Percentage female goes to entry number 226, RP CMFM Wildfire MO6, exhibited by Wyatt Phillips of Maysville, Kentucky. Congratulations once again to our Percentage Simmental females. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, all champion and reserve champion breed winners, please make your way to Freedom Hall immediately.